Hello and welcome to my channel English Literature Made Easy with Saswati. In this video, I will talk about modernism, which is a part of literary theory. I will also talk about modernist literature or literary modernism and its characteristics. Along with that, I will talk about some of the most important modernist writers such as T.S. Eliot, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf and Franz Kafka and their writings. So do stay tuned and watch the video till the end. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you receive all the notifications and updates. So now let's first understand what is modernism. Modernism is a movement in literature, art and culture which flourished in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly in the aftermath of the First World War, and it continued till the 1940s. Now please understand one thing, that when we use the term modernism, we are talking in general about the early 20th century movement in art, culture, literature, philosophy and so on. But when we use the term modernist literature or literary modernism, then we are talking specifically about modernism in literature. So modernism is a much wider term, whereas modernist literature or literary modernism is a rather limited term. So this particular point you have to be very clear about. Virginia Woolf, one of the most prominent modernist writers, in her essay Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown, which was published in the year 1924, wrote, "On or about December 1910, human character changed. All human relations shifted, and when human relations change, there is at the same time a change in religion, conduct, politics and literature. This change in art, literature, technology, philosophy or human behavior is generally called modernism." Now let's see what is so special about the year 1910. In 1910, there was this seminal art exhibition called Manet and the Post-Impressionists, which was organized by British art critic Roger Fry. This exhibition displayed the works of French painters such as Edward Manet, Paul Cézanne, Paul Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh and Maurice Denis. It was a critical disaster, but then it became one of the most important movements or important moments in the history of modern art. Roger Fry loosely chose the term post-impressionism, as these modern French painters were moving away from Impressionism's attachment to naturalism and were devoted towards exploring deep emotions through paint. Fry believed that their work would give new ideas and direction to British art and culture. On the other hand, they offended the morality of the age by being anarchic in the sense that they placed form, that means artistic form, over content. But now, these painters are considered as the epitomes of modern art. Coming back to Virginia Woolf's essay, Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown, which explores themes of modernity, Woolf says that the writers of her time must dismiss the literary tools used by writers in the past. In the essay, Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown represents human nature. Woolf points out at Edwardian fiction writers. Now you have to know, Edwardian era spans between 1901 to 1910, during the reign of King Edward VII, such as Arnold Bennett, H.G. Wells and John Galsworthy, and says that these writers looked out of the window at factories, at utopias, but never at life, never at human nature. The literary tools and techniques these writers used served their purpose of novel writing. But for the modernist writers, those same conventions and tools can be catastrophic and disastrous. So do keep these points made by Virginia Woolf in mind. And now let's look at some of the characteristics of modernism as well as modernist literature to understand it better. So the first characteristic is modernism is a reaction against realism. Now you must know that realism was a mid-19th century artistic and philosophical movement that emphasized the true depiction of reality. But the question is, why modernism reacts against realism? You must understand that realism talks about one singular and absolute reality and viewed it as the ultimate reality. On the other hand, modernism seeks to break away from the conventional way of artistic representation. Modernist literature claims that reality is not singular and it does not exist outside. It exists solely in the mind. Modernism believed that people have individual understanding of reality in the world and they make their own meaning out of it. Therefore, in modernist literature, the narrator can no longer be an outside voice hovering over the text. Rather, his subjective mind must be embedded in the text. And many narrative techniques were initiated to represent the subjective reality. The realistic novels of Charles Dickens and Elizabeth Gaskell, written in the Victorian period, talked about the socio-political reality of England, wherein these writers portrayed the lives of working class people. Remember, England during this period was economically booming owing to industrialization, but at the same time, for the poor working class people, life was like a living hell. There were underfed and underpaid child workers about whom Charles Dickens wrote in the novel Oliver Twist. Dickens himself was a victim of child labor and he vividly portrays this reality in his novels. Then Elizabeth Gaskell, in the novel Mary Burton, which was published in 1848, depicted the relations between employers and workers. In another novel called North and South, she portrays the brutal world wrought by the Industrial Revolution. As against this social reality depicted by the realist novels, we have modernist writers like Mrs. Dalloway, which was written by Virginia Woolf in the year 1925. The story moves forward and backward in time and in and out of the characters' minds. And by doing this, Virginia Woolf tries to break the demarcation between past and present. At one point in the novel, the title character, Mrs. Dalloway, says, "The war is over." We understand as readers that the war is over for Mrs. Dalloway, but for the war veteran Septimus Smith, the war continues in his mind, in his psyche. The destructive impact of the war has made him detached from the society and he suffers from shell shock and hallucinations of his friend Evans, who died in the war. So as you can see, in modernist literature, reality is not absolute and outside. Rather, it is subjective and individual. So the focus shifts from the society or the outside world to the inner world of the individual. The second characteristic of modernist literature is modernist literature witnessed a clear break or departure from the 19th century Victorian morality, optimism and convention, as it was influenced by rapid social change, industrialization, urbanization, advances in science and technology and the social sciences such as in psychology, philosophy and political theory. In the novel Ulysses, James Joyce challenges 19th century orthodox Victorian morality and convention through the representation of unconventional behavior and the use of experimental forms. The episode at the end of the novel where the character Molly Bloom has explicit sexual fantasies is conveyed through the use of a new method called the stream of consciousness technique, which comes from psychology. American psychologist William James coined the term stream of consciousness in his book The Principles of Psychology in 1890. In literature, stream of consciousness is used as a narrative technique that depicts the varieties of thoughts and feelings that pass through the mind of the narrator. And modernist writers like James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, Marcel Proust use this narrative technique in their works. Coming back to Joyce's Ulysses, it is transgressive in many ways in terms of morality and artistic convention. And with this novel, James Joyce offers us with one of the most notable works of modernist literature. Number 3 characteristic of modernist literature is following Ezra Pound's dictum to make it new. Modernist literature experimented with literary form to express the new sensibilities of their time. If you look at James Joyce's Ulysses or T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland or Virginia Woolf's novel Mrs. Dalloway, you will see that these works are written in a rather fragmented or disjointed structure, and they often jump from one voice or one image to another without even telling the reader about these shifts. Since they do not follow any sense of linearity of time, plot or narration, these modernist works are complex and difficult to understand. The fourth characteristic is the First World War, which spans from 1914 to 1918, was a man-made catastrophe. It had shocked and horrified the people so badly that people's faith in the very foundations of Western society, Western culture and religion had been shaken. As Nietzsche said, God is dead. That means God, who had existed at some point in time, had ceased to exist, as people ceased to believe in the existence of God. Therefore, modernist literature that was produced in the aftermath of the war reflected an utter disillusionment and fragmentation. T.S. Eliot's poem, The Wasteland, expresses this sense of panic, fear, and spiritual emptiness of the post-war period. In order to capture the reality in the aftermath of the First World War, modernist writers like T.S. Eliot, James Joyce, and Virginia Woolf were violating grammar and breaking up syntax in their writings, as they sought to destroy age-old established literary conventions. Wrought by this man-made catastrophe, people were getting more and more alienated from the society. The world and our very existence in this world seemed absurd. Franz Kafka, another prominent modernist writer, explored these themes of alienation, existential anxiety, and absurdity in his novels and short stories. Kafka's novel, The Metamorphosis, which was published in the year 1915, talks about a traveling salesman named Gregor Samsa, who was absurdly transformed into a giant insect one morning. But then the narrator describes this strange, absurd situation to be rather ordinary, as if he anticipates the world to be utterly absurd and meaningless. So as you can see, modernist literature is influenced by art. I have already talked about post-impressionism, post-impressionist art. Then it is influenced by psychology. I have already mentioned about the technique of stream of consciousness, which comes from psychology. Then philosophy, the ideas of existentialism, nihilism, absurdism, and so on and so forth. So that's all for this video. I will be back soon with a new video and new topic. So till then, take care of yourselves and I will see you soon.